I'm joined by Nischal Mewallal, CEO of SABRIC, the SA Banking Risk Information Centre. Nischal, thank you so much for joining us. And you know, this is an important message. It's so easy when we let our guard down, we're perhaps in an environment that we're not used to, or we are so excited and so emotional about a holiday, we can easily be scammed. And also, plans are up in the air at the moment because people are cancelling and other people are trying to book at the last minute, hoping for a good deal because we know that the tour operators are quite desperate. Very low prices could be a genuine great offer, but you say we always have to be alert. Tell us why.
Hi, good evening, Sally, and good evening to the viewers. Thank you for having me on the show. Well, there's lots of things happening during this time. Certainly, statistically, we know that this is the time when we see all of the peaks in the number of fraud incidents that take place, whether it be fraud on credit card or whether it be the type of attacks we see people being faced with when they're making large-scale withdrawals at the ATMs. So certainly it's the time when criminals get busy. And, you know, over the past couple of months, it's also been a time when fraudsters have become quite innovative in their ideas. More often than not, they're purporting to be the banking fraud department these days, engaging with you, presenting you with your own information, so that they are able to catch even more information from you so that they can produce or take or carry out transactions on your bank accounts. So certainly lots been happening in this space.
So what are your top tips for avoiding an online scam?
So some of the key things you know, the viewers need to watch out for is firstly make sure when you're doing your online shopping, you know, engage on reputable sites. Go to sites where you know that this company is going to be fulfilling your transactions. The second thing is make sure you have a secure internet connection. All too often we try and do this using, you know, open public internet connections. These are quite unsafe. So make sure you've got a secure internet connection if you're doing it at home. And then the other thing you've already pointed out, avoid offers that are too good to be true. And really, these too good to be true offers are nothing more than little scams that go on so as to entice you to take up something that you know doesn't really cost this much. It's a bargain, and then you engage in such a transaction. You know, there are no recourses when you undertake transactions of that nature.
And also, in a document you sent us, you talk about reputable sites, but you also need to really check the identifying line of that site, because it says criminals only need to change one digit of a web address. So it might look like a site you know, but it's not necessarily. So that's a really important tip.
Absolutely.
What about tips for the real world? I mean, is it still, you know, keep your eyes about you, stay alert? Anything more we should be aware of?
So much of what we already know continues, but when you know, some of the things we're speaking about these days is you need to watch out when you're approaching the ATMs, make sure you're looking at your surroundings, taking care that people are not tracking what is it that you're doing. Also another thing, even though it's we've had these types of incidents reduced, you need to watch out for ATMs that could be manipulated so that you know, the proper device where an individual puts in the card is not replaced by a skimmer. So you need to watch out for, you know, making sure that there isn't loose wires hanging out of the ATM, which you wouldn't really find. I mean, banks do a really good job these days of monitoring what's going on over there. And then the other things you need to watch out for is when you go into the ATM to make those stock file deposits, you know, you need to watch out for the amounts of money you're trying to put into that ATM. We're actually encouraging consumers to try and ensure that when these deposits are taking place, get the payee to actually make the transaction electronically. It makes the entire transaction so much more safer. And even when you're distributing the cash out of the accounts, follow the electronic mechanisms, far safer, and also, you know, direct bearing on your own safety.
Yeah, it's such an important message at this time to stay really vigilant around our cash, whether in the real world or online. Thank you so much for your time. That, of course, was Nischal Mewallal, CEO of SABRIC, the SA Banking Risk Information.